Start.
Welcome to the New York Parrot Literary Corner. I am Dustin Pickering. Today's guest is remarkable Sankha Sen. He is a writer, musician, and visionary Indian. From childhood, he has always been good at his studies. The prize which he won in his classes has been well preserved by his parents in Calcutta. Later, he graduated from a renowned engineering university and started working in many countries. He did his master's from a very good university in Germany and decided to settle there. Apart from his academic excellence, he has always been a great musician from childhood, and he has won many prizes for music from his school days. His father is also a very famous guitarist. He has played on television, radio, and in recording studios. Later, he went on pursuing his music and has done many shows in India, Japan, Germany, and in Switzerland. His childhood hobby, writing, has been encouraged by his mother and his wife, and he has again started writing poems. Within a short span, his first book, Sankha Majara, has been published in International Book Fair, Kolkata, India, and his poems have been published in a journal, Set You, in the United States. Also, his poems have been published in a magazine called Ishadana in Germany. This multi talented person has been well acknowledged by the Calcutta Journalist Club at his book inauguration event and International Book Fair in Calcutta. Sankha Sen has also become globally well known and is getting greater responses from different countries. Hence, he has decided to publish another extraordinary book of his, comprising his feelings with poetic compositions of different shades of human emotions in three different languages. Thank you for joining us today, Sanka.
Thanks a
Uh,
lot,
if,
Dustin.
if there's anything you want to add to your bio, little other information that is not included in the introduction, feel free to introduce yourself to our viewers.
Yeah, thanks a lot for this beautiful welcome thing, and I feel really obliged that it could happen. Yeah, I think everything you really spoke, and which is starting from my childhood to the time which I'm doing now. Like keeping aside my professional stuff, I'm actually an engineer, electrical engineer.
Hmm.
But this is like something which I have parallelly developed, and with God's grace, I'm getting a lot of responses. So I plan to continue as well in this direction in the areas of art and literature. And if I get responses like from people like you, it would give me a lot more energy to really strive in this direction.
So, how do you balance engineering and the arts? I mean, those are two separate functions. It seems like of the mind, and so I mean, obviously, music also has a little bit of the mathematical scientific
Yeah.
component to it. Do you think literature maybe has some of that too, or do you feel that
Uh,
it's more about just the emotive capacities of
uh,
language?
yeah, it's a very good question actually. I have been keeping thinking whether really, actually, there's a German poem I recently also I wrote, and it has been published in this German magazine. It has been recited on last Sunday, and that is exactly the idea behind this. The poem is called Gehirn der Kunst
Hmm.
in German language. The main idea is like the brain of arts. So what is actually the brain of arts? If you just close your eyes and think that okay, there's a consciousness which you think, and everything which we see like beside us or before us, behind us, uh, is something like which fall within our senses. But the moment we start beyond our senses, there exactly art start. So I believe like through engineering and mathematics, okay, mathematics is again a very big subject, but with engineering is something like what has been proven or theoretized by people like Einstein or Newton or whoever has done it. We try to apply those in making beautiful cars or rockets or planes. But what if things were not, uh, if we could not really put things into a formula, or we cannot really find a pattern to certain aspect which is actually happening in front of our eyes, but we don't understand that. And that exactly has really interested me, because there are a lot of things happening in front of us which doesn't have any logic, but it happens. So there exactly I think
I guess we lost him.
you must have heard Tagore. He's a famous writer from India, and Einstein. These are the two people I really follow my whole life, because Einstein is someone who has expressed the world outside our human emotions, and Tagore is a person who has explored the world inside our human emotions. So there are millions of human emotions, and if we try to catch each one of them, then I think our literature will just uh, explode. There are so many emotions, so many feelings happening every millisecond of a time, and we sometimes we just look over it and we just skip over it. But if we try to capture those into beautiful language, then comes out a poem. Yeah.
That's interesting thought. I mean, there is definitely a certain level of human thought and emotion that's logical, but the logic of it seems to exceed our understanding. So we're very deep feeling creatures, you know, and so I think that that's an excellent observation that there is a science, there is indeed a science we may not quite understand in the
Mm.
subjective realm that I don't know psychoanalysis may have pursued to a certain degree and so forth. So you've also won many awards. How does that feel when you're bestowed an award? How do you react to that?
Um, yeah, during my childhood, I was lucky to kind of get a certain amount of academic like acknowledgements. Yeah, those were the days where we had to kind of study according to our syllabus and really study well. But apart from that, maybe there was always an interest for me to retain those knowledge which I learned somehow in some form or the other in my brain, so that even after 20, 30 years I could recollect them and picturize them what I have really learned. So that has really helped me now in maybe, because I actually don't learn things without understanding them. Yeah, there are certain things where you cannot really where you cannot really need to invest so much of thought, like learning the dates of an history book or stuff like that. You need to really learn it well. But
Right.
but still there is a format of learning. I mean, when you learn certain things, may it be history or anything, if you can find out a format in which your brain really memorizes those things, then I think those things will really remain in your brain, and you can really preserve those things for a lot of time. So maybe from childhood I have really was lucky to find out those kind of ways and tactics how we can really retain the information for a longer period of time in my brain, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe that really went on well in the exams. Yeah.
Do you think each human mind is maybe functioning a little differently, and they just you have to find the right set of patterns that work for yourself in
Yes.
order
Yes.
to have a functional memory that's really active and that's interesting because there's been a lot of research in that, and there's always the older memory palace format of Bruno and people like that who've come up with some interesting ideas.
Mm.
So you're also involved in journalism. How do you find that different from poetry?
Yeah, I have been acknowledged by this Calcutta Journalist Club over my book, but I was in Germany during that time. So I got all those messages over videos, and I was surprised that people from Calcutta Journalist Club. Calcutta is supposed to be the intellectual capital of India, and people from there, if they have acknowledged my writing, then I was relatively surprised and as well as pleased inside that okay, maybe my writing has some quality, wherein people like Calcutta Journalist Club is really praising over it, or maybe my book was selected to be kind of inaugurated in an international book fair in Calcutta. But eventually, I have been writing poems, and recently in my current book, I have written a story also in English. It comprises of kind of story which more or less moves around Europe and all. So Europe, England, and Switzerland. More I cannot tell. If you have to get the book, then you can read the story. But as such, in journalist area, I have not been writing regularly on any articles or anything. But I would be really interested if I get a chance in that.
That's interesting that you mentioned the Calcutta being the intellectual capital of India. What else? What other involvement do you have with Calcutta other than journalism?
Yeah, one is that, and then obviously my studies, the electrical engineering was from a very good university. Jadavpur University is considered one of the premium universities there. And okay, the technical studies, and apart from that, with God's grace, like I have been performing in many shows in music areas. I play guitar, both Indian classical and Western music. And since last 5 6 years, I've got a good amount of fan following in Germany, and that information really reached in India. Also, my father being a famous guitarist, so many people in India really they are having regular, let's say, quite often we are having this live shows from India directly, where I am performing and they are listening from India and elsewhere. So journalism, writing, engineering, and music. So all in all three areas, I have been in touch with the people in Calcutta. Yeah, and also the people from different parts of India as well as different part of the globe. Yeah.
I just find that your range is so broad of what you do. I mean, I don't have had no clue how you have the time for that, all that to get involved into all of those different things. It's really interesting. So, would you like to maybe read a poem or two?
Sure, I believe I can read a poem from my first book. This is my first book, which I wrote, Sankha Sen.
Hmm.
So I'll be reading an English poem from there. The poem is called "Womb of Kinship." Um, it's related to mothers, the mummies. Which, mothers are beautiful, and we all love our mothers. So, like womb of kinship, alone in a home, better than being homeless. A mind of a mother ought not be careless. Call the odds, call the vices. A hand is always to be found despite differences. Be there for me, kind with the warmth of your womb. Solitudes secured by your existence removes the soul's broom. The angel to every life destined and programmed by the demiurge. Perpetually, it's me in whom you always indulge. Be there to every soul, be there to every mind. Nurture always the tender heart and its kind. The nest of my heart, the temple of proclivity. Your my silent home of tranquility.
Hmm.
Thank you. that's actually kind of talking about our mothers,
Mhm.
and it's associated how we are somehow find our peace uh, in a mother's womb. Uh, the last line.
Right.
When did you write that poem?
That poem I wrote. It was the first book which got released. I think 2 3 years back. 2019. Yeah, May. First edition was in May.
The poem itself, when did you write the poem? I'm coming back to analysis of the
Ah,
content of the poem itself.
so the poem I wrote maybe 3 4 months before, or maybe half a year before, something like that.
So did you write it on Mother's
So,
Day, or what really pushed you to write the poem?
so this poem I kind of uh, your question is like how did this idea came into my mind to write this
Yes.
poem? Is it? Yeah. Uh, you know that we are staying in Germany and my parents are staying in India. So we could not meet every day or every weekend. I cannot meet my mom every weekend or something like that. But we always talk on WhatsApp calls and all. So there was always a longing to meet your mother and all. So I thought like, why don't I give an intellectual side to it, and maybe um, keep my mother content in this book. Whenever I read this poem, I'll feel about my mother, and maybe I can also dedicate this to the mothers of the whole world, wherever the beautiful mothers are. The peace which we find with motherhood and with the love and emotions uh, uh, will always be remembered by every son, whoever is staying wherever in the world. So this idea really triggered me to maybe come out with few beautiful words,
Impressive.
and I could actually
So you write
put it
in
in this word.
both,
Yeah.
So how does it feel?
in two languages, right? You write in two
Yes,
languages, and
I write in actually three languages:
you also
English,
compose in two
Bengali, and
languages, right? You write and compose music in two languages generally, right?
yeah, I write in 3 languages, in German language also.
Okay. Do you also sing in German language?
Yes, why not? I mean, uh, if I singing, we can sing at any
Because I'm
language.
actually going to challenge you on the show today. You're going to give us these three parts. If you have these three area, our viewers want to enjoy the lyrical aspect of you in these three languages. So that's why I'm asking you.
Um,
Do you also compose in German language?
I actually haven't composed a German song yet, but I have written one poem in German.
Okay, so that will be rendered poetically, no problem. But prepare that you are going to have lyrical presentation of the two languages that you've mastered very well. Okay, so
Okay,
let me
I
hand over
can.
to Dustin. Why? Why we still wait for the time to have that lyrical presentation?
Yeah.
Right. The are you? Is he getting a poem together for the in German, or
No,
is
no.
that what
We're
we're
first
waiting
going to
for?
have it in English language. Let's enjoy the flow in English, the poetry in English language first. Then we come to other languages because our viewers need to have a taste of our guest today.
Yes, yes.
Right.
So
So,
I suggest that you kick off with any other English-based poems that you have with you now that you want to share
Right.
with our audience.
yes, yes. So, that's that's obviously not a problem.
So if you are joining us for the first time on this show, this is Parrot Literary Corner, and I'm Mutiu Olawuyi. My co-host is Dustin Pickering, and our guest today is from all the way from and two different parts of the world. Anyway, is in Germany and also in India. So he has got a lot of ideas to share with us today, to also change the world with his creative mind. So, as you are creative too, we have got a creative mind to share his own creative word with you. So, over to you, Shankar.
Yes. So I would actually read out an English poem now.
Mhm.
Thanks a lot for the introduction. It's really beautiful. This is actually from my current book, which got published, and this is also to be found in the Setu magazine, which is actually also an online portal, like kind of which is published in United States of America. So the poem is actually called
Setu Magazine is
Circadian
edited
Christmas.
by Sunil Sharma. Sunil Sharma, right?
He's the editor of the Setu
Sunil
magazine, right?
Sharma.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
No Sharma.
So the poem is called Circadian Christmas. Um, it's actually talking and works around the idea of Christmas, how special it is, and all. So it goes on like this. May it be this Christmas when I learn to know me, O Lord. Age is gone, but this season I feel you every year. The trees, the light, the bestowing jingle bells reminds me of the stars, the kings, and the first cry of yours. In a silent night you came to bring gentleness in our lives. But, O Lord, the pains which you took on for us hasn't left us alone. Humans are still crucified strangely in the name of humanity. Unfair and fair, two sides of a coin. Should it be? Alas, O Lord, the world rolls over where places lie. The art of giving may still bring in joy, where hearts unite with a kiss of trust. Let Christmas jingle the bells of humanity. O Father, your children in need should smile indeed. Let it snow, let it cover the heat of heinousness. May us hold hands and rejoice goodness and godliness. Rhythms of circadian Christmas may harmonize the carols of our lives. Let us not live like an empty floating leaf, but savings lives of mere ants and insects if we eat. May us, O Lord, not just live only for us, but to live amongst us. Merry Christmas and a happy new hope may light across a million hearts. Thank you.
Thank you. We were with Sankha Sen here at the New York Parrot Literary Corner. My next question is, as you translate, or do you write in the language, or do you write a poem in your native tongue and then translate it yourself, or do you when you write poetry in different languages, as you write in German as well as English and what other languages?
No, I just write in the language wherever it is, so I don't translate it because there's the sense gets lost. So I just directly write in English, I write in Bengali, I write in
Oh,
German.
excellent. Do you find what kind of differences do you find between the languages? I'm curious of that.
Um, because I have been studying in an American school in Calcutta. So we had been also taught various proses from Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, and Keats, Shelley's, and all beautiful poems
Hmm.
from the beautiful poets. I really was really fascinated to know that okay, how come this language is coming at this part of my age, and just just the flow comes out. I mean, and it appears to be liked by people, and that's why I'm getting quite a good amount of acknowledgement and acceptance. I really don't pressurize my brain a lot; it just comes out. Yeah.
So, when you wrote your first book, how was that process and how did that feel?
Um, the first trigger was like okay, started I started writing after being 40. So I just wrote a small poem, and it came out quite well, and then I went on writing. I kind of posted in Facebook and all, and lot of likes happened, lot of comments came. So from there, I went on writing. People said that, okay, you're writing really good. I mean, from where did you learn or anything? I said, no, this I did not learn. It just comes out. Uh, so I went on writing, and then I kind of came in touch with the publisher, and she also liked my poem a lot, and she said, okay, she's willing to publish my poem, and that then it just happened. And initially in this book, I did not have so many poems, but still the publisher was ready to publish it, and the publisher is called Hawajan Publisher, and eventually my first book got published. And even in in Calcutta, Tagore had a very good influence over me, and he has beautiful writings, beautiful poems, and somehow that got retained, or maybe I have been liking the Bengali language so much because it is considered a very sweet language, if you know it, and there are a lot of expressions and emotions, and I kind of was lucky to catch those emotions in beautiful languages, and people was really astonished and said, okay, yeah, your Bengali writing is equally good. I mean, then I went on writing in two different directions, and in this current book, I gave a thought to write it in German language. So there was one poem which I published in German language. So because I have been staying in Germany since 2003, in between I was in the States for my work and all, but I first the first time when I landed in Germany was in 2003 for my masters. Since then, obviously, your German language will be improved, but definitely English and Bengali are actually the main language. Yeah,
Those were in your initial languages. Were in,
yeah, yeah,
what was
yeah.
your process like learning German? I mean, obviously you moved to Germany. I mean, how long did it take you to learn the language?
Um, yeah, I mean, before coming to Germany, I went on to Goethe Institute in India, Max Muller Bhavan, they call it, and there I kind of started learning the A1,
Hmm.
A2 maybe in Bangalore, and then when I started my masters, we had a my masters was in English, but in parallel we had a German language course, and because it is really good if you stay in Germany to know the language, otherwise you cannot really communicate that well in your daily life, in going to supermarket or whatever it might happen. So I learned there, and later on, in between, I kind of moved a little bit back due to some work process in Bangalore, and then again I went to United States for a work, and then my company again sent me back to Germany because I was the only kind of employee having a lot of German experience. So which actually really matched quite well because I studied there and then I am working now, so I have a fair good idea. And then I went on learning and like enhancing my language skills in German. Uh, in the evenings, I went to German classes. In the weekends, I also did German language classes, and I could manage to go for the C1, B2 level. Yeah, and since now I'm a citizen of Germany, and yeah, so German language has become a daily thing, part of my life. But so that's where it comes from: English, Bengali, and now German. Yeah.
Would you like to read the German poem that you wrote?
Yes. Yes. Okay. This poem, as I told, it's called Gehirn der Kunst, the brain of arts.
Hmm.
Kunst in meinem Blut, Kunst in meinem Nerven. Bestimmt gibt's Kunst irgendwo im Gehirn der Menschen. Logisch Denken hat seine Grenzen. Darüber hinaus ist es eine Theorie. Die Unwahrscheinlichkeit bekommt immer eine Form. Als Wissenschaft und Kunst bilden sie eine Synergie. Im Universum gibt es nur einen kleinen Teil. Die Menschen könnten mit Formeln definieren. Ich bin immer nur noch fasziniert. Um Himmels Willen, wie kann Kunst mit dem Weltall spielen? Lass uns einwandfrei vorstellen, deswegen bin ich tausendfach dankbar. Wie kann ich ohne das Orte besuchen? Die sind nie in der Wirklichkeit erreichbar. Ein Salut an das Geheim der Kunst. Es lässt uns die Grenzen verschwimmen. Thank you. So we call Dankeschön in German.
Mhm.
So that was actually the poem, which is talking about, which I explained before, like that I have arts in my blood, I have arts in my nerves. So there's definitive some arts in the brain of human beings. Logical thinking had their kind of boundaries. Um, there, it's actually bound by theories, but the unknown, the thing which really not the unpredictable things, they get always a form as science and arts um, move into a direction of synergy. In the universe, there is a small part which people can kind of define through formulas. I'm always fascinated. Oh God, how can the art play with the space? Let us think openly. That's the reason I'm thousand times thankful to you. How I can reach different places which is not actually reachable.
So
I salute.
technically, the poem is just talking about living without boundary, surviving without
Yeah,
any demarcation, unity
yeah,
across the globe with human, and crossing every boundary without considering the borders. That's very impressive. Because of our time,
the,
we want you to go to where I asked you to go to earlier. We want to enjoy the lyrical part of you. So, over to you. If you have any lyrical presentation to uh, give our viewers to enjoy, please, you can do
okay.
that now.
You mean to say a song or something?
Yes,
Okay, I have to bring my guitar. Can you
fine.
give me
Please
some time?
go ahead and do that while we're still on the show. Um,
Okay, I'll bring my guitar. Yeah.
Dear viewers,
Yeah.
we are here again. As usual, every day we'll definitely be giving you new things that you will have to use to enjoy yourself. We want you to keep entering the literary world of creative minds across the globe. Last time, we were in Uzbekistan. Another time, we were in even Greece. We were once in in Sweden, and several times we've been to different states in the United States. Today we are back in India. And this India, I will not say we are fully back in India. We are back in both India and Germany. You could enjoy the presentation made earlier in German language. So this great writer will keep giving us something new and new again. So if you have not subscribed to our channel, please do that, as you will be getting daily updates of creative minds, poems, music, short stories, whatever. And if you're interested in being interviewed, we have the platform for you. The platform we have here is for all. As long as you are creatively uh, prepared, we are also prepared for you. So I think our guest today is set to present a song for us. Shankar, over to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Go
All
for it.
right, go ahead, please.
So this is a song I composed in Bengali language. So
Okay.
that is the third language. audible? Quite good?
Go
Yes.
ahead, please. We're enjoying you.
তুমি কেন এলে না বলো, তুমি কেন এলে না বলো, আমি যে তোমারই তুমি কেন এলে না বলো, তুমি কেন এলে না বলো, আমি যে তোমারই আজি এই ভরসায়।
I guess we have lost our.
এগুলোর ছবি হারাহারু, আজি এই ভরসায় বসে আমি একাই আঁকি মনে তুলি দিয়ে স্মৃতিগুলোর ছবি হায়। একই আকাশ একই আলো দেখি মোরা
We're gonna have to close the show here, but your song is absolutely beautiful.
হৃদয়
Thank you so much. I think we really enjoyed the show today. We can hear the sound on the ground as Sankar is giving us a lyrical presentation. We appreciate your time with us. Thank you so much, our viewers.
Please subscribe to the
Please
channel.
subscribe to the channel. Keep watching us as we'll keep giving you unique things. Shankar, continue. Thank you so much.